Welcome everyone, I'm Dale and this is Cinema Historia. A wealthy businessman, a lost romance, and a company in trouble. This week we're going back to 1960 for a drama film called Cash McCall, starring James Garner, Natalie Wood, and Dean Jagger. And this is directed by Joseph Pevney. So, where does our story begin this week? Well, our story begins with Grant Austin, played by Dean Jagger. Grant Austin is the head and founder of the Austin Plastics Company. So Schofield Industries, which is his largest customer, threatens to take his business elsewhere. Knowing this would take away 60% of his business, Grant yearns for retirement. Grant Austin hires a consulting firm which finds an interesting potential buyer, the notorious businessman Cash McCall, played by James Garner. Cash McCall, a wealthy entrepreneur, is known in the business world for buying up struggling companies, refurbishing them, and then selling them for a considerable profit. Cash meets with Austin and his daughter Lori, played by Natalie Wood, an artist who has 10% ownership of the company. Austin then explains the problem he has with Schofield Industries. During the meeting, Cash speaks to Lori privately. As it turns out, they met the previous summer at a cabin party. Spending time together at the party later that night during a summer rainstorm, Cash, not ready for a serious relationship, gently turns Lori away. Lori, being modified and Cash realizing he had made a big mistake, can't get Lori out of his mind. So thinking Austin Plastics is only worth $1.5 million, Cash agrees to pay Grant's requested $2 million for the company so he can reconnect with Lori. Before the deal is finalized, Gil Clark, Cash's assistant, discovers that Austin Plastics holds patents essential to Schofield Industries. Schofield's alarm boss, retired Army General Danvers, now tries to buy Austin Plastics for himself. So, does Cash McCall refurbish Austin Plastics and make a cool $1 million profit? Does Cash and Lori finally start a serious relationship? Or does Grant Austin think he got swindled into early retirement? Based on the 1955 novel Cash McCall by Cameron Hawley, 75% of Google users liked this movie. Rotten Tomatoes audience reviews state such claims as, Joseph Pevney did a great job directing this movie. I enjoyed this motion picture because of the drama and romance. Cash McCall is a must-see. Fun romantic comedy with a business twist, and a good movie with interesting dynamics of business and romance with a cast that makes this worth seeing. And I totally agree. And our trivia question this week: was the screenplay writer a big help to someone who played in this film? Was a screenplay writer a big help to someone who played in this film? So, a little more history and the answer to our trivia question coming up next. Well, since our film involves big business and two formidable companies, I thought I'd like to talk about two companies that formed to create American Motors Corporation. And their sales peaked around the same time as this film. So, Nash Kelvinator, an automotive and appliance maker, formed in 1937, and Hudson Motor Car Company, an automaker from Detroit, formed in 1909, merged on May 1st, 1954 to form American Motors Corporation. It was the largest corporate merger in U.S. history. Nash and Hudson found it increasingly difficult to compete with Ford and General Motors, which were having a sales war during 1953 and 1954. The larger, fast-selling Nash Rambler model was sold as both a Nash and a Hudson in 1955 and 1956, but soon after, sales began to drop and it was decided that the future of the company lay with the compact Rambler line. Showing a $31.7 million operating loss in 1956 and $11.8 million loss in 1957, President and CEO George W. Romney launched a massive PR blitz. Romney spoke at union halls, churches, fairgrounds, as well as radio and TV stations. The PR blitz worked as Rambler sales took off in 1958, up by 58.7%, and 425 new dealers were signed up. 1958 became AMC's first year of profitability since its foundation, to $28 million. The Nash and Hudson brands were dropped and Rambler became a marquee in its own right and the mainstay of the company. And in both 1960 and 1961, Ramblers ranked in third place, surpassing Plymouth among U.S. automobile sales. I guess that's one company that Cash McCall did not get his hands on. And I found a 1961 AMC Rambler Ambassador at one of our local car shows. Originally purchased in New York State, then coming to Canada in 1971, where it was registered in Kincardine, Ontario by the same owner. Now on its second ownership since 2022, Matthew told me more about this rare gem. All original except the bottom portion being repainted in the mid-1970s. With only 57,000 miles, it even came with the original bias belted tires and spare tire. Upgraded with radial tires and power brakes, it is powered by a 327 cubic inch V8 and a 3-speed push-button automatic. An added bonus was some of the original sales brochures that enhanced its value. It drives beautifully, and it is now shown at local car shows with his charming family across southern Ontario. And a big thank you goes out to Matthew for using the photos of his car for my video, otherwise this video would not be possible. And the answer to our trivia question this week: was a screenplay writer a big help to someone who played in this film? Yes, Cash McCall, screenplay writer and comedy novel bestseller Marion Hargrove, also wrote several scripts for James Garner's Maverick TV series. This is one of three theatrical films produced with Garner as leading man during the period in which he was still playing in the Warner Brothers TV series Maverick, a Western show that ran from 1957 to 1962. I hope you enjoyed this video well enough to want to subscribe and keep my business going. And to all my existing subscribers and to new viewers, thanks for tuning back in. I hope to see you back next week.
I shouldn't care what happens to you, but I do. And I care about my father. I don't want you to do something that you're going to feel sorry for the rest of your life, Dad. You can't give in to him on this. You're not just washing out deals here. You're ruining his life, and Mother's, and mine. And you're washing out your own future.